Hey guys, a little bit of a different video today. I know this is like not the most exciting video that you guys are looking to see or anything, but actually for some of you, especially wedding photographers, I think, that utilize a lot of second shooters or even third shooters, or multiple cameras, this might actually be very helpful. You guys all know like how you get to the wedding and you're about to, start photographing and you have your second shooter, your team and everybody, and you're like, oh my goodness, we all gotta sync our cameras. And then you spend you know the drill. You're like sitting there all around in the back of the car, just trying to, make sure you synchronize your timing and look at, okay, whose time are we going by and all of this. I actually have a little bit of a trick for that, maybe a little bit of a solution for some of you guys. And I'll show you guys right now on the computer what it looks like. But basically what I do is I use an app. It's just Atomic Clock. It's a free app. Anybody can, just download it, or you can download your own app as long as it's synchronized with the atomic clock, like the time that the whole world is synced to, and you can see the seconds, like on this one for instance. I don't know if you can focus on that. The seconds are like right there. So as long as you take a photo with each camera that you're going to shoot with, and you can capture the whole time, obviously the date is helpful, but the seconds is what matters. You'll see in a little bit why. We're going to jump over here to the computer. Here's a wedding that I just shot for the weekend. You guys can see that, kind of like my file organization system. I have, I have my great assistant, Lauren. Shout out to Lauren, dude, you're amazing. We have, basically 3 memory cards, but essentially only 2 cameras that we shot with. So this one's from Lauren's memory card, this file right here. And these 2 are from the 2 different memory cards that I shot. But they're both, just 2 different cameras. She shoots with Nikon. I shoot with Canon, love for both of them. So here you guys can see these set of images right here. You guys will see this photo right here. This is the picture that my friend Lauren shot on her camera, on her Nikon. You guys can see the metadata here. If you guys are not familiar with Lightroom, you have a lot of different menus here, but metadata is what we're focusing on right now. And as you guys can see, it's a little bit underexposed, but it doesn't matter. As long as I can see this information right here, the date, the time, but the second, that's what I'm more concerned about. I want to be able to see this time right here. You'll see why in a second. So let's go back to the library, to the grid mode. And I'm pressing G and E, just by the way, for those of you guys that like shortcuts and don't know how to move quickly through your photos, G and E, right? So we are on the grid mode and we can see that photo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the number 6 on my keyboard, and that's gonna set the label to red in Lightroom. So I'm actually gonna click here on the first card that I shot, and you guys will see the first shot that I took is also that same, let me make this a little bigger for you guys, is that same app. It's just a different time. If you guys remember, I think Lauren's was like 2:03 and some seconds. Mine was, a couple minutes later, which it doesn't matter. You can actually let's say that you forgot to have your second shooter take a photo of this, or you yourself forgot to use one of the cameras and shoot it then. You can actually go the next day or a week or whenever you want to, and before you do the editing, obviously. Right before you're about to edit, and just take a photo with that same camera of just this, import it, and then do what I'm about to do right now. So, so let's go back to the grid mode. And here you'll see, right? I'm gonna click, or I'm gonna hit the number 6 again on my keyboard, right? And that sets the label to red on that. So in all of these photos, we have 2 that are set to red labels. So I'm gonna go back to this folder right here, which contains all of these 3 folders right here. And you'll see that there's Lauren's. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna select actually only Lauren's memory card. In fact, let me go back. So here's Lauren's card. I'm going to set my filters. If you hit the backslash key on your keyboard, this little bar is basically the filter bar, comes out. You can see that. And you can basically filter your photos through a lot of different things, from text to different attributes, metadata. Like you can see here, you can filter by lenses, by camera, by serial number on a camera, by date. So right now what you will see here is that we have labels too. So if I clicked on red label, you see these two photos right here, right? And here's the cool part about this. So if we look at this one, and I'm gonna make this a little bigger, I'm gonna look at Lauren's photo. I know this one's Lauren's. Double click on it and you'll see the time, 2:03 with 18 seconds. If we go to your metadata right here, there is an option called capture time. Now, this is the capture time that her camera is set to. So on her camera on that day, even though it was 2:03 and 18 seconds, her camera was set to 1:04 with 51 seconds. And that's pretty common, especially when, you know, like we're doing like the daylight time savings and all of that. Like cameras, you know, I never remember to switch my camera back and forth. So whenever I shoot for somebody else as a second shooter, you know, they always ask me like, hey, can you like, you know, synchronize to my camera? And I'm like, absolutely, I would love to. And I really don't care if my camera gets out of sync because I do this trick. So keep this in mind, okay? So it's 2 p.m., 3 minutes, 18 seconds. That's the actual real time according to the atomic clock. So then capture time is at 1:04. So we know that we are off by about an hour and maybe a little bit less than an hour, like 59 minutes, you know, we'll just round it up to an hour. So we're off by about an hour. And then if we look at mine is off by about, let's see, 2:05, 12, I'm off by like about a minute. Okay, so again, it doesn't really matter, but you'll see what I'm gonna do here. So we're gonna go back to no filters, so you can hit none right here, okay? And then we're back on the grid mode, and with the minus key, you can just make this smaller or bigger, right? Minus and plus. So I'm gonna go to Lauren's card, and I'm gonna click on the first one, and I'm gonna hit Control A. You can do this also on a Mac. If you're on a Mac, Apple A will select all of your images from that card. If you see down here at the bottom, it says that we've selected 1,288 photos, and you wanna make sure that that's this number, because if you, for some reason, select some of these photos too, then you're gonna like synchronize all of these in like weird different ways. It's just gonna be a pain. So I'm selecting all of Lauren's cards. And then if we go back here to the right-hand side to the metadata panel, you'll see that capture time now is gone. You're like, well, what happened to the capture time? Like it was there just a minute ago. Well, because we've selected so many of these photos, Lightroom can't obviously tell us like the capture time for all of them in here. It can't tell the date because, you know, it was shot just in one day. Had this been shot in like multiple days, we would not be able to see the capture date either. So we're gonna click on this icon right here, edit capture time. And this is the key to everything that I'm about to show you guys. So you click on this guy and you have a few options. You know, you can adjust to a specified date and time. You can shift by a set number of hours. Let's say you're like, you know what, I was just in a, you know, a different time zone and I know that I was like 3 hours off. So I'm just gonna shift this for 3 hours. You can change to the file creation date. So if whatever the time that you import it into your computer, I believe that's what this does. But we're just gonna stick with the first one, adjust to a specified date and time. And because we know that this image right here was shot at 2:03 p.m. with 18 seconds, we're gonna change this right here. So all you do is you 2:03 at 18 seconds, correct? Boom. And what this is gonna do is basically gonna be like a ripple effect. So all of whatever is gonna do a calculation of however much time it's, you know, changing from this original time to the corrected time. All of the other images are gonna be, the time is gonna change for all of them in the same exact way and the exact same amount. So I'm gonna hit change all, and remember, this operation cannot be undone. So you just gotta make sure that you're looking at the time, that you know exactly the time. I mean, if you're off by, let's say 3 seconds, you can just go ahead and, you know, select all of them again and do the same thing and just fix the seconds or whatever. Like, it's not that big of a deal if you mess up, as long as you know that you're working with just one memory card at a time, or one camera, I'd say, at a time. So, so I'm gonna hit change all, and nothing really seems different. Like, nothing happened here. But now if I unselect all of them, and you can just do that by clicking on the top right here, and I look at this image only, the 2:03:18, and I go to the metadata, now the time is correct, 2:03:18 p.m. on June 8th, 2019. So go back to the grid, and now all of these images from this card, from Lauren's card, are perfectly synced. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select my 2 memory cards, and the way I selected both of them was I clicked on the first one, and then I hold Control on my keyboard, or you can do, I believe you can do Option on a Mac, and then click on the other one. It selects both of those. So now I've selected 3,134 photos. Again, I select my first image. I'm going to double check the time. So 2:05:12. It helps too if you, when you take the photo, you actually shoot it a little bit tighter, so later you don't have to be zooming in on this. But 2:05:12, that's our time. So same procedure. I do Control A or Apple A on a Mac. You have all of those selected. You know that you're only working with that one particular camera. And then you go to your metadata on the right-hand side, capture time. And again, stay with the first option, adjust to a specified date and time, and then change your corrected time. So here my hour is fine, my minutes is what's a little bit off, and my seconds should be 2:05:12. So now I'm gonna change all, right? And now look what's gonna happen right now. So it's done adjusting all of those. So now, if I double check on this one again, right, 2:05:12, look at the time, 2:05:12, perfect. So now all of the images in that card are perfectly synced in time to the atomic time. So now you can kind of guess what's going to happen now. If I go back to my main folder, my raw folders, these 2 photos now are together. Why? Because that was the first photo that Lauren took, and this is the first photo that I took. And so now all of the images are in perfect order. So it goes from like Lauren's to mine. So here you can see this is from a Nikon, right? This one is from Canon. This one is from Nikon. And so it's going back and forth because now they're both in sync. In fact, you can see right here, like the bride is tapping on her dad's shoulder, and I have the exact same perfectly synced time of when I was taking the photo and when she was taking the photo. So I think this is super powerful because it will save people so much time. I know some friends of mine that it's a big headache, when they forget to sync, and then they have to edit their wedding in a different order, and it takes time, like if you're only shooting maybe portraits or product photography, that it might not matter that much, but the moment that you have a second shooter or just a different camera, 2 cameras, this can really add up a lot of time in your editing workflow. So anyways, that's the tip for today. I think if you guys have any questions, just leave it in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, subscribe. There's a lot of stuff coming up. So so subscribe, and thanks for watching, you guys.